Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we start? Yeah. Sorry, my presentation will be in English. So yeah, and the topic is from the ground to the clouds in less than 30 minutes. I hope I will manage to do it. And the main aim of this presentation is just to share my personal experience trying some cloud stuff and how it could be combined with development and how the development process could be simplified in some parts. So let's start. My name is Taras. I'm a Java developer. Started professional development in 2017 and joined Cyber 2017. Yeah. And what is the agenda of this presentation? It's like a short introduction, an overview about different topics like what the clouds are and what the alternatives, how to do some stuff. And at the end, I hope we'll have some time to make a real demo and demonstrate some things we can do in clouds with applications we are developing. So common software development lifecycle could be split into 5 pieces. Actually, I named it like 5D cycle, like design, develop, deliver, deploy, and distribute. And usually, and also based on my personal experience, like the last two might become a bit painful for developers because how to do a right deployment and easy for whole process and how to distribute it and go online is sometimes it becomes a real issue, at least in Java world, for example, with legacy code applications. But fortunately, cloud services came to save us, and now they became more and more popular, and more and more developers are trying to use them to speed up the development process, to automate everything, and actually go online faster and more efficiently. Of course, probably you know that top leaders of cloud services now, it's AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. But I found it sometimes a bit complicated to get into details and configure and set up right environment. Like if you are not DevOps, just a developer, and you need just cloud just to deploy and forget about it. So sometimes it became a bit complicated. So personally, I started to find some alternatives just to make it more easier and less painful for me. And one of the alternatives I found, it was like a Heroku cloud platform. It also provides some cloud services for development purposes, and it's actually start working since 2007 and later was owned by Salesforce, and it works on top of AWS, so it's quite stable and provide a lot of different features which we can use as a developers for ourselves to make the process and things go in right direction. Most of the things are listed here. For example, you should just concentrate on the development part, just implement some code, merge it, push it into Git repository, which is part of Heroku infrastructure. And of course, you should make a small configuration, but it's not so complicated, I would say. And all the rest, it's handled by Heroku. So you don't care about it. You just know that when you push, the build automatically spin up. And if it's successful, nothing broke, that application will just go online with new version. So that's the actually main points of using cloud services. And also, there are plenty of documentation materials how to use it in right way and easy to set up and start just working with. Here's example inside Heroku website. There are actually user guides how to start working with most of the top popular languages we can use. Despite I'm a Java developer, for this presentation I used Python-based stuff. So I will show you some example using Python. But still, there are many different options and choices, and whatever you want to use, you can use it. And there are many modules you can add, like a third-party services or libraries already included in a Heroku platform. So I will show you later, but it's just some modification. Actually, here it is. For example, if you're developing some application and you need a data store, in my case, it is Postgres, for example. I just choose it, and it's automatically attached to an application. And all the configuration automatically is attached like an environment variable, so you can just use it inside your scripts to connect to database. Everything is quite simple and straightforward. Yeah, actually, this is a process of attaching a database. So there is a resource or link you can go into and just choose right data source you need for your application. It could be Postgres or Redis or Kafka or whatever. And after it just been added like a resource. This is an example of free plan. So there are some limitations, 10,000 of rows, for example, and data size you can use. But in case you will require more resources, you can choose a paid plan, and it will be just extended. Yeah, coming to pricing, like there are different models. They have a free plan, which is quite limited, but still you are able to use it just to try some new stuff you never tried, and this is a good choice for some hobby or pet project or MVP project, something like that. Then it's like a fixed price hobby plan, which is just $7 per month for services you get from Heroku, and using this plan you are able to use your custom domain name and SSL certificate. It's already managed automatically, so you shouldn't spend time and efforts like to configure and set up this Let's Encrypt stuff or other things. And of course, if you are working on something big, which requires more resources, you can choose a flexible plan. Next one is how the things are organized inside Heroku. So the main part, like your source code with some dependencies required for application, and this is just goes to Git like a source base, and after that, when you do a push into Git repository as part of Heroku, everything is done automatically and handled by Heroku, like this stuff located inside this cloud, so it's some magic is going under the hood. And also this pros file, which is part of source code. It's a command file which manage how application is going to run when it comes to deployment. So it's just a bash style command file with some set of commands you are going to run. Yeah, actually this is an example for Python-based application. Like first line is tell us, not us, but Heroku, which commands to run on release phase when like build is going and all these things are preparing, a new image and other stuff. And the next one, second line, is like a web when application is being deployed, how to do this process. So it's like a just command to run Python application using Unicorn with some configuration. And also runtime is also important thing. So probably these two files are most important for Heroku-based web application. GitLab. Probably you know that this is another one version control service. But the question is, why do we need to use GitLab? Because, of course, Heroku has its own Git. You can use it, or even you can integrate it with GitHub, for example, to deploy your sources into Heroku Cloud. But what is the reason to use a GitLab? I'll later show you that there are so many features and different benefits you can use from the GitLab that you have to use it. And it also handles these two issues with deployment and distribution, because one of the purpose of using a GitLab, it also has CI/CD pipelines, and it's much more powerful, probably comparing to Heroku, with managing a source code with different services, additional services and tools you can use to build the whole process in a better way. Yeah, and it also has excellent integration with Heroku, so just one line of configuration to spin up source code and prepare a build and deploy it to Heroku Cloud Platform. It's free, open source. By the way, free plan contains unlimited amount of repositories, both public and private. It was a limitation comparing to GitHub. 1 year ago, I was trying to create my own private repos on GitHub. It wasn't allowed. After GitLab came to market, GitHub changed its policy, so now it's allowed. But yeah, I switched to GitLab and stay back here. Yeah, and there are so many features. We will go through them, I hope, in demo phase. Yeah, and the next one, it's interesting fact. It's taken from official documentation. So GitLab convinced that it can replace a lot of different third-party tools and services which are useful for development. For example, you shouldn't use a separate issue tracker because it's already present even in free plan of GitLab. So you can build your own issue tracker inside the GitLab, make an issues, assignments, and other stuff. So it's quite useful. And so many of these tools it can handle that it's just amazing. And also coming to pricing, I made a research, and it looks like quite similar, I would say, comparing to different to other biggest market leaders like Bitbucket and GitHub. So it's all of them has free plan, but I would say that free plan of GitLab is much more powerful and has more benefits comparing to other competitors. And one more reason to switch to GitLab, just a personal one. It has Ukrainian roots, among other products and services, and the history began when in 2011 one of the Ukrainian guys just started this project, and then they moved to United States, get a funding raising. In total, it's like 145 million of US dollars, and became a unicorn. And according to their plans, they have a really big plans for nearest future. Yeah, and a couple of next slides, I will try to show you different features which GitLab has. So probably some of them you like. For example, this is a snapshot of one of the projects, just a history of commits during some times. So it's like analytic and charts you can use to track activity. For example, it also has a language analysis based on sources you are using in your project, and also commits per day, for example, different type of commits history and statistic and analytic stuff. And as I mentioned before, GitLab also has a issue tracking system, So you can create new issues, assign it, for example, if you are working with someone else, or group or team, you can assign it to someone and then track it, put a due date, for example, and by the way, yesterday I got, or before yesterday, I got an email notification on my mail that this issue I created before for demo purposes, its due date, it's like today, so it's like a funny stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you can add attachment, different text, so pretty much similar like a Jira tool or Trello or something like that. Yeah, and you can organize it like in Kanban board. You can customize it, add more columns and move it between columns like to keep the progress and to monitor it. And also CI/CD pipelines, it's like just an example how it looks like. So you are able to monitor all the stuff is going on. Every time you are pushing your code, the same as Heroku, for example. It's starting a job based on configuration, and job is a part of pipeline. So then you are able to move your code to deploy somewhere else. In this case, I used Heroku like a destination point. So once I do merge into master branch, for example, based on this configuration, the pipeline is starting and job is running. Once it's run successfully, then using Heroku integration API, everything is deployed to Heroku cloud service. As similar is for jobs. And of course, charts, analytics, and statistics is present even for pipelines. How often you was deploying or running builds. Yeah, and free plan contains 2,000 hours of running your build processes. So usually if it's like a pet project or your own project, it's not so big, so it takes not many hours per every build. So it's pretty much enough to use free plan for instance. And also I haven't checked if similar features are present in other services, but for example, you can use protected branches to customize security and put some restrictions, for example, that not allow everyone, even if it's private repo and there are some set of members, other developers, so prevent branch, delete branch, or just limit some operations with branches. So it's very flexible and configurable stuff. And the same stands for tags as well. Thank you. As well as for branches. Yeah, and also there is a variables section. It's used to set up variable, which could be used in pipeline scripts. So you should not put some sensitive information directly into scripts. Just use a variable, and it's available from the script. And here, how the common pipeline looks like. Like at the beginning, we have a code and configuration, and actually, as I mentioned before, every time we do merge into master branch, the build process or test process starts, and afterwards, if it's successful, we just do a deployment to somewhere. Yeah, and .gitlab-ci YAML, it's a main configuration file for configuring pipelines in GitLab. Having this configuration, it's automatically picked up each time you make a merge. It's been tracked, and in case you should start it, the runner starts the process until it will be deployed to somewhere else. Here is like an example of a typical demo project I prepared. It's like a Django Python based, so it's like a common part for all the Django applications. This is the main important part for GitLab to start CI/CD pipeline, and this pros file releases and runtimes. It's just files, configuration files to be run on Heroku when deployment will be performed. And here's the example of GitLab CI/CD configuration. It consists 3 parts. Test parts, it's commented somehow, I don't know why. And below we have 2 more configurations, like for staging and for production. So you can split deployment and go online into different environments. For example, you can have different applications running on Heroku, one for staging, when new release will come after merging to master, for example, and production when you double check it on stage environment and you are satisfied, for example, then you just make a tag. This means that when tag is created, then this build will be started. Yes, please.
Do they have some common presets?
What kind of presets do you mean?
GitLab presets for the pipeline.
Yeah, actually, this is standard configuration YAML. I checked a couple of days before, so type and types probably are deprecated, and they used a bit different stuff. But in general, it's like a common example how to use it to build such a stuff. So let's switch to some practical stuff. 5 minutes. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. So, what to start with? Yeah, this is a sample application on stage environment, and looks like it's sleeping now. Oh, because for free plans, one of the limitations is like one application deployed to Heroku is inactive web application. It's inactive more than 30 minutes, it just goes down automatically, like a sleep mode. But when requests started coming to it, then it's wake up. Yeah, now it's on. And
so what is that, Heroku or GitLab?
This is a Heroku. So this is.
Yeah, so it starts sleeping. Is that Heroku? Or the one it said no internet or none of them?
No. One issue I had, it was because of no internet, but the second one was because of Heroku has a limitation, so it was a Heroku stuff. But yeah, now I refreshed, so request comes to web application, and it's automatically spin up and start running. But I want to show you, like, yeah, I created 2 applications. One is CPU demo STG, another is CPU demo prod. So obviously it's like a point to 2 different environments, and combines them into one pipeline. So it's also a possibility of Heroku to use pipelines, but I prefer to use GitLab CI/CD pipelines because it's like a more control and I don't know, more convenient for me. It also has environment variables. For example, this is for connecting application to database, and these variables are set. Exactly, these variables is set automatically when you select a data store. Here is the resource I use. So this is one of the resources attached to the database, and once you attached it, it's like became as a resource. And in settings, like you automatically get a configuration environment variable, and then you can use it in your application to connect to database. For example, if we switch to production, we don't have any resources, and therefore we don't have any environment variables, but once, yeah, and this is how pipelines looks like on Heroku. So we have a stage which can be deployed in production. But before do this, I will show you how it looks like. I will go and attach one more resource for so just select a plan and destination and just press a button, and yes, it's just attach it, and a new database configuration is appeared. So just simple as it can be. And now I will demonstrate, and for example, this is a how application looks like. So there is no web application and on prod environment now, but for example, using Heroku pipelines, we can do promotion from stage to demo to production. It takes a couple of minutes or seconds, and here is the logs of prod application, I hope. Yeah. So something is going on, and actually this line starting process with command something. This is what has been written in pros file. So now we should have here the same as we had in stage. Yeah, pretty much the same. Now let's switch to this is a GitLab. Yeah, so I created a new branch file icon, and I want to add one more file icon. How to upload it? Shit. Okay. Yeah, upload file. So just will try to show. Come on. Ouch. Yes. So it makes a new commit, but to branch file icon, then we can create a merge request. Yeah, for example, to master, submit merge request, and if we go to CI/CD, you'll see that nothing is happening. Because yes, merge requests. So I should I have to merge it. And now automatically, yeah, pending because runner in free plan is shared among all the people. So usually it takes some time, but in 1 to 3 minutes it can be like start running, and once job will be successful, this configuration mentioned in GitLab CI/CD config file In this case, it will be staging. You probably see. So that means that it recognizes that this is a staging configuration because we were merged into master. So this build will be run. Yeah, and now it's running. And you can see all the process. Yeah, so the idea is after it's completes and it will be successful, automatic deploy to Heroku stage environment will happen. And on stage environment, automatically you will have a new release with this econ file added to source code. And yeah, so thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it.